dudes.
Represents a clear and present danger to the national security of the United States.
You have no idea what men of power can do.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Clear and Present Dudes.
This is the podcast where we just read books, damn it. We aren't spies, we just read books about everything.
We just read books.
Remind me to write a memo.
Oh. Cool. Thanks for listening, and thank you to the people who have left nice comments and ratings. Rory, I think you've got some shout-outs you want to do?
Absolutely. Once again, thanks to our usual friends of the podcast, people like Jim and Cramlington, Jen and Syracuse, who keep listening and keep giving us feedback through back channels, as well as leaving excellent comments on our social media posts. Big shout out to Richie from Blythe, new friend of the podcast. Once again, he's given us some excellent feedback. He's shared our videos on his own pages and stuff. So massive thanks. To everyone who keeps watching, keeps rating, and just keeps giving us something to do, because without an audience, I'd just be like writing a novel or something, or just talking to the fridge. I believe Mike's got something to say about our recent polls that we've been running.
Okay, so you may have, if you listened to last week's episode about Firefox from 1982, I mentioned about a poll that I ran a little while ago about who was the best Jack Ryan. And as you know, if you listen to that one, it was a dead tie between Harrison Ford and Chris Pine. So on the episode for Firefox, I ran another poll just to see if I could get the answer I want.
Democracy in action.
That's how referendums work. So what I ended up getting was another dead heat, but this time between Harrison Ford and Alec Baldwin. So that's one step in the right direction. I'm going to leave that subject for a little while now. I think we've established that the people just don't know who the best Jack Ryan is. But maybe once we've covered the rest of the Jack Ryan products, maybe people will be more informed. Who knows? But yeah.
Speaking
cool.
of Jack's Ryan and their multiple, going back to Jack Ryan singular, it's been a little while since we had an update on the Bear and the Dragon.
Well, have you got one?
Yes, so the last time we even mentioned the Bear and the Dragon book club, of course we didn't in the last one, because it would have felt wrong without Sanya being here. Plus also it mentions some things that Sanya may have some angry insight on, being a former retail employee. Now, it's been a little while since I've had this absolute slab of like 9 billion pages of late-stage Clancyism techno thriller on my daily commute to work. We returned to the book with things now really obviously kicking off. Things are getting very heated between America, between China. China's also gearing up for a land grab to try and get territory in Siberia, where they've made massive findings of mineral wealth, gold and oil. And the funniest bit is probably because Tom Clancy kind of got really into writing about the economy in books like Debt of Honor and stuff like that. Debt of Honor has like economic warfare and stuff. He thinks long and hard and ruminates strangely on what the effect of blackballing China and ruining China's reputation is going to have on like consumer goods retail in the States. And Taiwan in the novel capitalizes on this by shipping separately via various Taiwanese political pressure groups in America stickers with the Taiwanese flag and "We are the good guys" on it, which retail staff are then expected to peel off and individually put on all these made in Taiwan products. You can tell that Tom Clancy never worked at Walgreens, you know. He was never working core fill at Dollar General or whatever. Now, Sanya, you and I have both worked retail. You've worked more retail than me. On a scale of 1 to becoming a Japanese airline pilot and flying your 747 into the capital, killing almost all of the US government, how upset would you be if you had to individually peel off "We are the good guys" stickers and put them on all Taiwanese products?
This is something that Tanya's never had to think about ever in his life, Roy.
And now he's had memories of working in retail.
What do you mean? We are the good guys. No,
Incredible.
Individually having to peel off stickers is not something that registers as particularly stupid in retail, to be honest.
That is true. That is true. But
No, another day in Stupid Town.
Absolutely fair. I was expecting a more explosive reaction there. I mean, it's not like I'm trying to poke the bear or anything, but
it's no, that's like I can explode if you like that, but like it's
No,
hard to
no.
beat like having to deal with old people losing their shit because you're out of their favorite, I don't know, type of water. Someone in earnest
this
wishing you
water
to,
is too dry.
yes, or someone in earnest wishing you a bad weekend because of that.
Incredible
It's
scenes.
like, okay, mom, please leave.
Incredible scenes.
Like retail would be great if it wasn't for the customers.
Yeah, 100%. When I worked in retail back in the day at Wilkinson's, I remember a guy came in and he wanted one of those little aerials that you take when you're on like a caravan holiday and you need it to get like the TV so you can watch like Heartbeat or whatever when it's raining because it's the UK and it's always raining. He was really het up because and he'd been drinking, by the way, as well. And this was like at about 1 p.m. on a Saturday. And he comes in, he asks us if we've got any, and I was like, I don't think we do. I'll have a look in the warehouse. And he literally balls up his fists and he's like, oh, you'd better, like. And I'm like, yeah, cool, awesome. And then I just like went round to security again, hey, give us a quick pat down. I'm going for a 5-minute break, and just left the building. Just left the building. Yeah, stew on it, mate. So that was one of the funny things. And we've got the plot kind of careening to the point when Russia joins NATO.
We're still in the book.
Big NATO. Yeah. Just one great quote. Russia is imminently going to join NATO, and there's this big like NATO conference. Basically, America says NATO, Russia's going to join, and everyone says, "Cool, okay." Like, there's no arguments at all. Zero arguments. There's like, can you imagine Poland instantly saying, "Cool"?
Yeah.
And this NATO conference actually happens in Poland. Yeah, so Poland is totally happy with its former colonial occupier, joining NATO. And so there's a great scene when President Jack Ryan is in conversation with the Russian president. Russian president says, Plato said only the dead have seen the end of war. Jack Ryan responds, so are we to be bound by the words of a Greek that lived 25 centuries ago? I prefer the words of a Jew who lived 5 centuries later. It's time, Sergei. It's fucking time. I don't think that's in the Bible, dude. And now a reading of from the letters of Jesus to the Russians. Dear Sergei, it's fucking time. Yours in Christ, Jesus.
And so say we all.
There we go.
Cool. Shall we talk about the movie?
Absolutely, please.
Cool. So we are recording this on Saturday, the 20th of September, and just the other day, Robert Redford, a titan of cinema, producer, director, godfather of independent cinema in the US, I would say, passed away, sadly. So, in the clear and present dude space, he appeared in like a few notable thriller movies, 3 Days of the Condor, which we're doing today, of course, in 1975, and then in 1976, All the President's Men, where he delivered that fantastic performance as Bob Woodward, uncovering the Watergate scandal by dialing rotary phones and having shady meetings with deep throats. But today, we are here talking about 3 Days of the Condor, screenplay by Lorenzo Semple Jr., based on the book 6 Days of the Condor by James Grady. Lorenzo slammed one quick line of coke and whilst penning his script for Flash Gordon said, I can do it in 3. And then directed by Sidney Pollack and starring Robert Redford, Faye Dunaway, Max Von Sydow, and Cliff Robertson, and John Houseman. And this is one of the 7 movies that Sidney Pollack did with Robert Redford. But I think this might be the only real spy thriller one. So yeah, cool. A lot to go through. Shall we watch the trailer, gentlemen?
Let's go. Are we all synchronized?
3,
okay.
2, 1.
This is a major. Identification?
What? Identification.
My name is Turner. I work for you.
What is your designation?
Condor.
Well, this is really well cut.
Level
Yeah.
of damage. Everybody. Dr. Lapp, Janice, Ray, Harold. Everybody is dead.
I'm not sure
Condor is
I like the modern music on this trailer.
Yeah.
It could fool a professional.
I work for the CIA. I am not a spy. I just read books.
We have games. We play games. What if?
7 people killed.
I'll need your help.
Have I ever denied you anything?
Do you believe the Condor is really an endangered species?
Don't expect too many mistakes from this man.
So cool.
Cool trailer.
Incredibly upscaled in 4K, but it looks so good for it.
It does look really good. Yeah, it's a good version, which you can't
Yeah.
always say for things that have been upscaled.
Yeah.
So, the movie, I'll do a little bit of a plot beginnings bit from the wiki, as I always do.
Yep.
So, it stars Robert Redford. He plays Joe Turner. It describes him as a bookish CIA analyst. First of all, I take issue with him being described as bookish. He's like cool as heck. And he is,
Yeah.
you know, he dresses awesome. He's like a cheeky chappy. Everyone loves him. Oh, that little scamp, Joe Turner. He's not bookish, but yeah, okay. Codenamed Condor, and he works at the American Literary Historical Society in New York City, which is actually a clandestine CIA office in which the staff analyze print media from all around the world. And then he files a report to CIA headquarters on a thriller novel, which has got strange plot elements and has been translated into several languages despite poor sales. That's kind of the beginning part. What I really love about the intro of this movie, guys, is the vibe it creates for the office. The music's a bit like full on. Like the first thing you hear is this big funky music, but I love it feels really lived in, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. It feels like a real working office. Once again, everything circles back. To Tommy C. But it feels like how the CIA office looks at the start of Sum of All Fears. That office feels a bit lived in. It feels a bit cramped. It feels a bit like almost down at heel. And this literary society office is definitely down at heel, cramped. People are working in individual rooms like they should be, because I hate open plan offices with a passion. They need to go quickly. Lived-in's right, and
You know what it feels like? Do you guys watch Slow Horses or have seen it on Apple TV?
haven't seen it, no.
All right, so it's awesome. It's based on the novels by Mick Herron about a MI5 little section house type thing in London. But it's where they put all the mad, bad, and sad kind of MI5 agents, yeah. But that place is like super depressing, and it's kind of like it's almost like a deconstruction of this. It's really depressing. It's like really run down. Everyone's like always bickering with each other and they hate each other. This is like a nice version of that. This is like,
Yeah.
if like on the opposite side of the street they had like the opposite like CIA office where everyone's amazing and better funded and everyone gets on. Yeah.
Like it's it's really benign. It seems like a nice workplace.
Yeah, you've got like the snooty old guy who's like, you must follow procedures. And you've got like the old avuncular security guy who probably hasn't seen like live combat in like 40 years. Or
Yeah, I mean, that can be attested by the fact that he takes his time to, arm himself when the time does come. He's not watching things like a hawk. He's not in his freaking sheepdog era. It seems really benign. It seems quite chill. I would like to work there.
yeah, it's a beautiful building.
Yeah, it's a beautiful building. It's relatively well placed for delicatessen where people are friendly.
Indeed, just around the corner. And his girlfriend works in the office and no one minds.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great.
Yeah. No, it's cool.
You've got a super paranoid receptionist who's got a 45 in her in her drawer. I'm a massive fan of films where the receptionist's heavily armed. So what this one, obviously, we've got True Lies, when the receptionist at the super secret above the CIA Omega level crazy spy agency that Arnie works at, who's got a cocked and ready to go Taurus under the table in a holster. Of course, got Captain America: The First Avenger, where there's a Thompson gun under the receptionist's desk. Yeah, it's mood. I think that there should be standard issue for all receptionists.
It was like a movie where the incongruous person has a big gun or beats somebody up or something, or like does the bit where they stamp to somebody. What's the name of that little lady who was in Carnival? And she was in but the scene I'm thinking of is when she's in Kindergarten Cop, and she's a bit where she like punches this guy and calls him like an SOB.
Yes,
like that's deep lore from my brain.
Deep cuts.
Yeah, but yeah, I love that. So you get that. So he works at this office. His whole big deal is that he all they do is they read books, read all this print media from all around the world, and then they put it into these kind of funky looking computers that scan it.
Yeah.
Which looks really space age, like in a cool retro future kind of way. I'm not sure that technology. I don't know. I honestly have no idea if that stuff is real or not. It looks funky though, and you can tell he's like a cultured guy, and he's getting really good at doing his like Oriental calligraphy and stuff.
Yeah.
He seems to understand and read different languages and things. And a project he's working on at the start of the movie is he's found this spy book or spy novel with interesting like plot devices. But it's been translated, even though it didn't sell very well, it's been translated into a bunch of different languages, and the languages are a bit odd as well. So you've got it's like Dutch and Arabic, but not German or Spanish or French, like not always the major languages. So that's what I kind of start things off. He sends this report in, but it's already kind of in play, isn't it? So he's already submitted this report, presumably a while back, because the movie starts with somebody sitting in a car observing everyone's movements into the building, taking off when everyone's inside. And then the instigating incident, I suppose, is the attack on the office, the assassinations of everyone who works there.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
It was so cool. It was great. Neither rain nor sleet nor snow nor hail will stop the US mail. Especially if the postman's got a suppressed Mach 10 under his little rain poncho. Good use of the bad weather to give them like extra kind of like low visibility, I guess. Like, the weather's rubbish. This is great. They can wear bulky ponchos with the heat underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine if like the plan was like foiled by like a bizarre heat wave, and like the postman's got to do it in like little shorts and like short sleeves, and he's just walking around with this just Mac with a gigantic can on the end of it, and it's like, no, this is my emotional support submachine gun. Really cool. Brutal, clinical, emotionless, dispassionate, the way they act.
Kind of shocking, even now. For something that came out in 1975, watching it now, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Just gunning down that old lady straight away, gunning down like the old guy.
Yeah. Yeah, like no mercy.
The bit, oh god, Max Von Sydow walking into the room where Janice, her name is the kind of girlfriend.
Yeah.
And he's like, just move away from the window, please. And he's like, super polite.
Yeah.
Move away from the window, please.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I won't scream. And then, bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, it's like, I know. Grim. Yeah, very grim. Incredibly grim.
Yeah. Yeah, really, really well done. And I like the setup for it all as well. So I like that Joe is like, one of his weird little quirks is that he's like tracking the weather, like down to the minute.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna stop raining at 11:30.
It's the opposite of I don't watch weather, I watch people.
yeah. Oh God, War of the Worlds. Let's not talk about War of the Worlds again.
No, never. Let's stop it.
But yeah, that's great. I like that. And then he has that whole little thing. His patterns of life is that whenever it rains, he runs out through the back exit, through the basement, through a little hole in the fence.
Saves from a block.
Targetable actions that inadvertently avoiding targetable actions by doing something that would have been a targetable action if they'd been watching him long enough. Yeah, that's quite funny. That so obviously he doesn't go through the front door like they would expect. Yeah, that's cool. So I love that. And then obviously he goes to the deli, gets his sandwiches, comes back, finds the
some great banter with the guys at the deli as well, the customers. That's absolutely brilliant. It's that's just class, man. I love it. It's friendly, jovial banter. He's obviously a really cool guy, and like you said, it's great because this film's like, look at this bookish turbo nerd, and he walks into this deli, and he's literally the coolest guy there.
Yeah, exactly.
And everyone's like, hey, man, it's this freaking golden gods just walked in. But nerd.
Yeah.
Look at him. Look at him with his reading and his calligraphy. Nerd.
Just handsome man who's ever lived.
Yeah. Like it's...
Robert Redford was tried out for the role that Dustin Hoffman got in The Graduate.
Whoa.
And they told him, like, there's no way you can be in this movie because, like, you're not believable as a loser. And he's like, what are you talking about? I can be a loser. And they said, like, yeah, but look, no one's going to look at you and think that you ever struck out with a girl. And he's like, what do you mean? Struck out with a girl? And he's like, he didn't understand the concept of striking out with a girl because he's Robert Redford.
That's incredible. It's like, wait a minute, there are people out there who aren't attracted to me. No, but it's like, you can bet he was humble with it as well. He wasn't like, actually, I'm Robert Redford, super stud.
That's it. That's what they all say.
I can play a loser, you know?
Yeah, I read a tremendous obit in The Guardian this morning.
Yeah.
That was basically like, they say never meet your heroes. They're wrong. And it was a big long bunch, like about a dozen different people all talking about the amazing experiences they had working with Robert Redford throughout his entire career. First time directors working with him, like in the 2000s when he's still this absolute behemoth, and him just being super humble and super nice and just saying like, tell me what you want from me. I won't look at the monitor. I'm an actor, just do, And at this point, obviously, he's like prolific and acclaimed director. So, really wonderful guy, So it's a big loss.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Joe Turner returns back to the office, finds all his co-workers dead, pretty grim. And again, really believable. Good from him, I think, because he, his usual self walks in. He's so divorced from the possibility that anything bad could happen because he doesn't see himself as a service person, doesn't see himself or see what they're working in. Their working environment is something that people would target because in his mind, he's just a guy who reads books and doesn't really think about like who he's reading books for, I guess.
Yeah.
So the idea that harm could befall them is like just completely absent from him.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really kind of like unsecure building as well. I mean, obviously they've got like the CCTV that he plays games with and hides his face and stuff like that. And they haven't got like a super steely security guard who's like, no, pull that hat back up and let me see it's really you kind of thing. There's no metal detector or anything. So yeah, he doesn't even show that much fear and trepidation when he realizes that the door's open, which would have been like, maybe a major red flag if like you lived in if you lived and worked in a more secure kind of place with like kind of multiple like authentications and I don't know, maybe just freaking metal detectors and stuff.
It's a pretty. He's so disconnected from the rest of like the broader machinery of like of the CIA that he just doesn't have that sort of appreciation for like what a combat indicator would be. That something's wrong. That something's amiss. It's mental that because even as a regular human being living in New York in the 70s, you would assume that your front door being slightly ajar is
it would be like
not good,
suspicious
crime might have occurred. But looks around, sees everything he needs to see, goes and finds his girlfriend, which is pretty harrowing. And we like her like straight away. She's like
she's super likable.
Yeah. So that's particularly sad. He then flees from the building, takes the 45, and then makes a very panicked and again very non-military, non-espionage type phone call from a payphone to his. I guess it's like their equivalent of the G Fleet controller at the CIA, the major.
The major, yeah. Following on in the tradition of No Way Out and Tom Clancy's Op Center, once again we have a dude in a wheelchair in an operations room.
Yeah. And it's a weird little ops room because he's got like this cool desk with everything on it. And then he's just looking at a display in front of him, which just seems to be a big picture of the world. So that's just set dressing, isn't it? Like you're not meant to interrogate that too closely. Like
Well, it's just like it's like a do it for her kind of thing, isn't it? Right? It's like do it for the free world, especially the bits that's swollen because of the Mercator line and all that,
Don't forget about the little blue dot.
The little blue dot. Oh, good God! But yeah, so and it's a very kind of like clinical telephone call with the major side of it, things like are you damaged, that kind of thing, and it's like it said, oh my God, are you hurt? It's like, are you damaged? It's very depersonalized, dehumanized. It shows just how I think you can describe Robert Redford's character as being barely in the CIA. Like he's barely a spy. Well, he's not a spy. He's a guy who reads books, but he's barely part of the espionage intelligence world.
Because the major probably, if he does take these kind of calls from operatives on the ground, he's used to reading off that script and they're used to hearing it and answering those questions in the order they come in, kind of thing. Or at least they've been trained to do that, I should say. So, interesting. They could have, I suppose there's an element there that if you are in that job, you should get some kind of training that says like you work with a whole gamut of people in the CIA, from pointy end operators to, analysts and human sources and stuff on the other end of the scale, and you should be able to have the emotional intelligence to talk to everybody in different ways. Yeah, but to make the point, but this is making the point that he's not militarized at all, and they even go through his like scant military service in order to get to take advantage of the GI Bill later on, don't they? He did 2 years, which is like nothing, and spent longer than off EQ. So
in signals. Which, of course, so he did Signals, didn't he? He was in Signals.
That's a
and
classic. That's a classic route to intelligence, isn't it?
Yeah, and of course that comes into play later on with his phone freaking and stuff, and there's just incredible analog tradecraft. I'm sitting there just like, yes,
Yeah, it's really good, isn't
phone
it?
freaking, phone jacking, switchboards.
Yeah, I love that.
Hook it to my veins.
And that's the cool thing about this character, I suppose. And this is like really obvious stuff here, but we've seen through his demeanor and through his kind of interactions with the company that he's not like, he doesn't view himself as a spy. Maybe he hasn't got all the training, but he's super smart and adaptable. And actually, he's a natural. Not to make like a Robert Redford pun about the natural, but he's a natural. and dude, maybe if you were like had a slightly different temperament, you could have been really, really good at this.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly proves that later in the film with just his a few absolute master strokes. Not getting ahead of ourselves too much, but the way he covers his movements and essentially sniper proofs himself by just creating a group of people in which to hide and conceal himself within. You know, it's tremendous.
It's so good. Right, I'll try and canter through some of the plot, I guess, because there's a lot going on. It's a dense plot. I don't know how they've shortened it down from 6 days to 3 days because there's a lot going on. That's Hollywood, baby. That's Hollywood, baby. Yeah.
Hollywood moves fast and breaks things.
So it's so I guess so the beginning of it for him is pretty horrible. So his first, not even 24 hours, his first like 4 hours are incredibly stressful. He wants to try and come in. They don't want to bring him in. There's obviously two different arms of the CIA here. There's like the core CIA who are just doing their daily routine business, and then there's the little sector of the CIA which we later find out towards the end of the film is run by this guy called Leonard Atwood, who is trying to hush a project that he's had running in the background and is taking everyone out from within the company to do that, which is a bit rogue. But because he's so unfamiliar with the procedure, he's distrustful of everybody, and he's right to be distrustful because the people that are being used to bring him in aren't on his side. They get a friend of his called Sam, to meet him in an alleyway behind a hotel, but there's a guy Wicks there with him as well, who's from the company, and Wicks, who we thought, when you first meet him, you think he's all right. He flies to New York to do it himself personally, and then tries to assassinate him.
Yeah.
And then he does kill the guy Sam, because obviously Sam's a witness now to what's happened. They pin that on. They don't name him. They don't have a witness or anything, but they basically try and pin it. Both shootings, because our boy Joe Turner gets a shot off from his 45 and takes out the leg of the Wicks guy.
Yeah.
They try and pin both of them on him, and he continues on the run. I'm trying to get through this bit so we can get to the exciting next bit, which was as he's fleeing the scene of the alley from the shooting, he ducks into an outdoor store. This movie's a stealth Christmas movie, so we can hear like silver bells and everyone's like buying big heavy coats and skis and stuff because they're all going to head up north to do some skiing and what have you. So he starts hiding in the clothes racks and he sees this woman buying some skis for some cross-country skiing, and it's Faye Dunaway, who is coming off the back of, I don't know when exactly it was, but she came off Chinatown, which I think was the year before. Yeah, the year before. So she's hot off Chinatown. Joe Turner, as she's leaving the shop, having bought her accoutrements, he pulls a gun on her and basically hijacks her car, and they go back to her place. And then begins the weirdest love story in movie thriller history. It's so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's compelling. Compels me though, but but it's so uncomfortable, right?
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, it's quite uncomfortable for the obvious like power balance, reasons and stuff. Also, the fact that he falls asleep with his 45 against her and his finger in the trigger guard is like, oh, and I'm not just saying that because I'm the film firearm nerd, but it's like, I know how I sleep, right? You know, and I assume other people maybe aren't as restless as me. There's no way someone is like not gonna, you know, I mean.
Yeah, geez. That's one of many things that are wrong with this whole liaison.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so she starts off pretty terrified. She's pretty compliant straight away, but then again, you would be if someone's pointing a 45 at you.
Yeah.
But then they get into her flat, it's a weird shift in his character as well. So I guess they're setting up a Beauty and the Beast kind of thing. But he's like meant to be horrible, or like a Heathcliff and Kathy. She is called Kathy.
Holy crap! Yeah.
So like some sort of he's like moody and terse and horrible, which is weird because his character so far, right? He's had two min moods: cheeky chappy at the beginning, everybody loves, charming, lovely, everyone loves Joe, or Joey as his friends call him, and then he's obviously scared and on the run, and because he's scared, obviously he's a little bit stressed out. So we could probably give him a kind of a bit of slack for being stressed out, but some of the way he talks to her as soon as they're in her flat is he's like downright like kind of just mean and rude, like.
I mean, he's crossed the Rubicon, hasn't he? He's shot someone earlier that day, so that's
probably chiefly on his mind.
Yeah, like it's been like transformative for him. I mean, especially the line later on when she's like, paraphrasing, but she's like, I want to know more about you, today, etc. And he's like, I don't know what happened yesterday. Today it rained. It's like his gunfight is sort of a hard reset, really.
That's a really good point.
It gives him absolute clarity. It sharpens him, and it just kind of erases a lot of his personality gets changed. The kind of behavior that we see at the start is pretty much erased. Also, just a really, really quick sidelong one. I bet so many absolute like gun range fuds, 8 rounds is enough kind of guys got really upset that the leg shot from a 45 wasn't like instantly like dismembering his leg and stuff, because there's all that established fud lore. It's like 9mm kills the body, 45 kills the soul, and it's like, and it's like that scene in the Pacific when a guy's getting told about the 1911. Oh, if you hit a guy in the hand, it'll take his arm off and stuff. And it's like, yeah, there's probably some people watching it like, oh my god, no, he's still got both legs. One of them hasn't been turned into instant dust by the super caliber.
Yeah, myth busted. Yeah, ridiculous.
God bless Hoss.
So it turns out that he's kind of doing Kathy a favor by doing this, because she's meant to be going on a skiing holiday with a boyfriend who sounds like a guy called Ben, who sounds like an asshole. And I say that knowing the trivia that this is Sidney Pollack's voice on the phone, but he's being an asshole, right? And she appears to be like what I'm going to describe as terminally flaky, incurably flaky. like this is not the first time that she's apparently meant to be going on this trip, and she's called it off several times before. She just doesn't want to go skiing with this guy. Stop trying to make her ski. She doesn't want to ski. Right?
She wants to take photos.
She wants to take
items.
Yeah, she wants to take
New York
photos.
City. Yeah, she wants to take photos in black and white and just be cool.
Yeah,
in the book.
Not an awesome.
In the book, yeah. In the book, she's a paralegal.
She even got a declared job in the movie.
I just assume she's a photographer who's probably kind of getting a bit of patronage from this guy who can afford skiing holidays. I mean, I don't think it's like to the level of No Way Out when he's paying for a rent, but I think she'll probably kind of. Well, I mean, there's never a scene when she's like, "Oh my god, I've got to go to work."
People at work will be expecting me.
Yeah, work are going to call. They're going to be like, "You're absent without leave, Rory. You sacked, Rory." I mean, sorry.
Yeah.
Peace out to employment.
That's right. Yeah, because she's a photographer, as you say.
Yeah.
And she takes these extraordinary. It's worth mentioning. She takes these extraordinarily bleak-looking black and white photographs.
Yeah.
Of not so much sort of landscapes, but like scenes, street scenes, trees bare with no leaves, a view of a bridge, through other bits of architecture.
Yeah.
These pictures that evoke great loneliness and emptiness, as Turner describes. Not autumn, not winter, in between November.
Yeah.
So lonely, and he's like struck by it. And actually, that's the first moment that they kind of connect, because she sees that, oh, this guy isn't like a thug, and he might be a bit, crazy or whatever, but there's something about him.
Yeah.
She's not initially believing of his story, but eventually, as you alluded to, they have the moment where they sleep on the same bed together while he's holding a gun to her, and then he wakes up.
A horrifying prospect.
It is grim. That's not the grimmest thing he does, but it's up there.
Yeah.
And then he gets up, he watches the news report, he sees the news report, which describes there's got a witness. There's a police officer gets interviewed by the press from the scene, the alleyway, and clearly the company's been there and has prepped everybody for what the party line is, what the lines to take are with the media. and it doesn't allude to a fugitive spy, at least. And it gives cover identities for the two people who were in the alleyway. So it's like, oh.
Yeah.
And that tips him off. The CIA are aware of this. They know. Which makes him distrustful of the CIA, as he's quite right to be. But he makes a phone call to a man played by Cliff Robertson, whose name I've forgotten momentarily. Higgins, right,
Higgins.
yeah. And Higgins is going to be our sort of touch point with the part of the CIA that isn't involved in the plot, if you will. So he's his one line, and they have a bit of an interplay from the rest of the movie now of Higgins wants to bring the guy in, but he's distrustful, so Higgins can't just bring him into the company. He's quite right to, because people from within the company are trying to kill him. But it's good because it allows us to have a back and forth. Every now and again, they'll have these meetings throughout the movie, and obviously the final scene, which we'll talk about in due course, is this great dialogue scene that wouldn't happen if there was no route to talk to the CIA. So he plays a really important role for that point. He arranges a meet with her using Kathy to get into her office and find out where he is, and then get eyes on, so then he can arrange a meet later. So that's
Which
cool.
is brilliant. It's brilliant how you can tell 1970s were a different time. You could just walk into the CIA building and fill in some forms. And the World Trade Center, no less. Yeah, bloody hell.
Yeah. But we've skipped a couple of little bits. So there's two cool things I want to talk about. First, I say two cool things. One thing is the first time that they have sex. So there's a bit where your boy Turner leaves the apartment, and before leaving the apartment, to make sure that she doesn't call the police or escape or do anything, he ties her up and leaves her there for hours on end, gagged, bound. He comes back after doing his business, like, you know, making some phone calls and scoping out his old apartment or whatever, and starts untying her, takes the gag off, and they're talking, and then the soft jazz starts coming in from out of nowhere, just this little saxophone, and as they're talking, he realizes, like, halfway through the conversation, that they're still having like a pretty friendly conversation. Why haven't you asked me to untie you? And it's like, maybe she likes it, you know?
Maybe she enjoys it, yeah.
And it's pretty weird. Maybe she has a pretty unfulfilling and lonely life, and maybe this is the most exciting thing that's happened for a while, even though it's horrifying. And she's holding both those truths in her head at the same time, and it's pretty weird.
Maybe he's a better option than the guy that she's meant to be seeing in Vermont, you know?
Yeah, and we heard that phone call from the guy, Ben, and he was pretty rude and pretty mean and pretty bullying and pretty controlling. And, you know, apart from the fact that this guy's been literally holding you at gunpoint and tying you up, it's been pretty nice, apart from that.
Yeah.
So his standards are like through the bottom of the floor.
I've been doing wrong.
Yeah, I mean, you think dating now is difficult. Like, she was up against it. But yeah, so then they start making out, and then there's a pretty wild sex scene. And I say that because it's very quickly cut. There's lots of like push zooms on stuff. It intercuts with push zooms in on the photograph she's been taking. So it's drawing this kind of visual language. It's drawing like an end equivalence with him making out with her, and then him or her, one of them, both of them potentially, are thinking about these photographs and what they represent, her loneliness, her emptiness.
Yeah.
It's doing that. It keeps breaking the 180 rule, so you get like a view from one side and a view from the other side really quickly. Just stuff like that. Really stylized. And the music is slightly at odds with it, I think, because the music's a little bit too generic, a little bit too like standard soft jazz for a love scene.
I was going to say it's dead jazzy, isn't it? It's got like such a jazzy soundtrack that I actually like, but I understand it can be a bit divisive.
So do I. I like it, but I think in this particular instance, someone else who did a lot of like jazzy sounding music but made it just creepy enough was Angelo Badalamenti and his work with David Lynch. And I think if he'd put something on here, he would have just made it that little bit creepy.
Yeah.
That would have just made it a bit like, yeah, this isn't like a love scene. This is like a toxic love scene.
Yeah, this is like weird.
Yeah. Because it is weird. Like, the guy kidnapped you, hijacked your car, kidnapped you, is holding you at gunpoint, is cutting you off from everybody. Now you're within a day?
Yeah.
You know?
Man, shout out to the Ford Bronco. There's enough space in that to interrogate someone at gunpoint. That's amazing, right?
So, right. So I'm glad you brought that up because I noticed it and I thought this would be too boring to talk about. But maybe it's not. There's a bit where they're having a regular conversation in that car, and the clearance between the top of her head and like the roof of the car is like over a foot. I was like,
It's
did
crazy, right?
Did they build a Ford Bronco set for this movie or something? It was like, what the
I honestly think with the size of the back end of the Ford Bronco, where you can literally hold a guy at gunpoint, there's probably enough space to get like a big like Panavision camera in there, and somehow run power to it. And they're just booling around New York City on this like gigantic 300-foot long power cable that's just running to it through the back. Ford Broncos, man, shout out them.
That car
honestly.
says
Not a sponsor.
That says so much about her as well. So like, it's like it's so at odds with like all the other cars that are in New York at the time. And then like, yeah, you see it's covered in like mud and like the streaks on all the windows. It's just like it's a bit careworn. It kind
So she's probably driving out of the city on a regular basis to do things, right? I mean, because like, why else are you gonna have a freaking massive Ford Bronco in New York City? Best city in the world when you've got like the best subway in the world, etc.
That's right. And she's I suppose she's about to take a trip. It's Vermont they're going to, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're meant to be taking a trip to Vermont.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool.
I made so many Bernie Sanders jokes. I'm sorry, Sandy. When I watched it, I was like, Senator Bernie Sanders. Although at that point, he was probably still living in New York and like stealing his neighbor's electricity and stuff.
That's cool.
I am once again asking for your electricity.
He literally did as well. Like when he was like a young guy, like apparently he tried to be a carpenter and was like a really bad one. So he was like unemployed for ages, and he was just like stealing his neighbor's electricity. It's like, that's my president.
I think the other bit we need to talk about is pretty rich, actually. So there's the stuff with Sam. So he goes to... So originally, the star of the movie, he's talking with Janice, and they have plans that evening to go and have dinner at his friend Sam's apartment. So he goes to that apartment, Sam Barber's apartment, where it's just Sam Barber's missus there making dinner, and she is like none the wiser. So the guy's been dead for like several hours. She's none the wiser. She's been informed, even though the company definitely knows about it. So no one's from the company's informed her.
Yeah.
Interesting. So there's no compassionate cell have come and like knocked on the door. No police or anything, even though the body's almost certainly been identified.
Yeah.
So that's fishy. And she doesn't know anything about it. So he goes there, realizes that that's dodgy and something's up, and that she's probably in danger because clearly they're like getting rid of all the witnesses for everything. So he leaves, and then he has this really cool tense scene in the elevator of that building with who should be there, Max Von Sydow.
Yeah.
So Max Von Sydow's whole thing is really cool. Can we talk about him for a little bit? So
absolutely.
And so his character is awesome. So he was in the CIA, I guess. They say that, and then he's French. And his whole thing is that he's tracking this guy down all the time, but he's not doing it by like, I mean, he probably is doing some stuff. Like you see him like get eyes on the registration plate of the car as it drives off and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's like using tradecraft and precision and stuff, but he's also like playing a bit of a mind game and going, well, his friend Sam was killed. He's probably going to go to Sam's apartment, so I'll just lurk around there and wait for him. Like he's doing that kind of stuff, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, man. He's incredibly urbane. He's incredibly cool. He's slick. Like I said, the tradecraft he displays is excellent. He's smart. He's cold, dispassionate. But there is the strangest bit of warmth about him towards the end.
Yeah.
That we'll get into when we get into. Something about... Sorry, just circling back for a few moments. When Robert Redford's leaving his friend's wife's apartment, you notice he turns all the gas on the stove. Did you notice that?
I think she's already cooking and he turns it off.
Right, so I thought he was turning it on, so I guess it makes
so
more sense.
She says, I'm cooking, and he's like telling us to go up to a neighbour's apartment and stay there until this kind of blows over.
Right.
So he's turning the oven and everything off so it doesn't set fire, I think.
Right, I thought it was like the opposite way around.
But it's cool that he's like thinking about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like he becomes, for a guy who just reads books, he becomes incredibly switched on. Situational awareness is like unreal.
So he has that scene in the elevator, and again, you do like just like you said, you get like hints of Max von Sydow's warmth. He makes that little comment about because these two kids come in, they're like teenagers, but they're probably played by guys in their 20s, and then they come in and they like smash all the buttons on the elevator and are just generally annoying and weird. And he's like, kids, they're like that everywhere, I expect. And it's just like, oh yeah, I probably would like to. And then obviously he does that brilliant thing you mentioned earlier on. So he knows that Max von Sydow has left the building first, and therefore is lying in wait to ambush him. So he gets that crowd of people around him by saying he needs to unlock his car. He's willing to give $5 to the guy if he can jimmy the car, and then so everyone comes to watch. So there's a whole crowd of people walking around him. So he creates his own little personal security detail.
I love how Max von Sydow is using what really appears to be a Mauser C96 with a stock and a scope on it. That's incredibly cool because I'm a C96 aficionado. It's so freaking cool, man. Like it's got the perfect spy movie vibes, you know. I just love that. Like, man, I don't know.
Oh, that's very cool. What's the next big thing? I suppose the next big one is now that that's been foiled, we do get some scenes that sort of explain what's going on sort of story-wise. So we know that Max von Sydow is a free agent, and he's being it's just outside of the company time to square all these killings away. Because Turner got away initially, everyone associated with Turner is kind of being done for free. So he's an honourable businessman, if nothing else.
Yeah.
The next thing we see is because now that we've established that Max von Sydow now that Turner recognizes Max von Sydow Joubert by his face, he now knows that he can't just approach him in the street anymore, so he has to use different means. So the next thing we see is the morning after, the night before, Kathy's having a shower, and then who should come to the door? It's only your friendly local neighborhood mailman, and we have a bit of a confrontation there, don't we?
Yeah. It's the scene when he's got a sign for the parcel, so the guy ends up kind of essentially forcing entry behind him, and this is the first time you see Robert Redford kind of outmaneuvered a little bit, or is he? Because I mean, he's pretending that like is he pretending that the pen's not working?
I think
in order to get the guy into the house.
So my take on that was that the pen was already dry. And and he engineered that situation to get into the house by having a dry pen.
Right.
Because the guy's like, I have to go back in and get a pen. And he's like, oh, I'll just follow you in.
There we go.
I think that's his way of getting entry in. I think that's a bit of tradecraft from the assassino.
Yeah. Interesting thing is as well, I mean, you know, when you like dressed as like a US mailman, that's like a federal employee, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, people are like not going to be willing to get in like a physical altercation with a federal employee because that's like probably a felony.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know. Cut that out. I thought it's funny. That's funny.
It's a felony to assault an on-duty mailman.
Probably.
Yeah,
a federal employee, right? So yeah,
he's wearing the president's uniform that he's been given by his country.
They're basically troops.
Yeah, Newman. Yeah. Yeah, so that fight is pretty cool, I think. There's a lot of like, because again, it's a bit of a situational awareness. It's a little, it's a scrappy fight, but it's things like pulling rugs out of each other's feet and stuff, and like
fire poker,
and
fire poker.
Would he go? Would he not go? That's really cool.
Yeah, and there's always like the kind of scene when there's a fight over a gun, right? So like he drops the Mac and then fight over, but then he sees that the 45's on the table, so now there's two weapons in play, and it adds a bit extra cool little quirks to the fight choreography, you know?
And then Kathy comes in and she helps.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't have to. She could have stayed in the other room.
Yeah.
I mean, if the fight had been lost, I mean, she would have probably
so would she be. Yeah.
So would she. But she still comes in and wails on the side of Turner.
Yeah, I mean, Robert Redford's got that kind of charisma that people will throw hands for him, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And he only uses that power for good.
Yeah, he does. What a wonderful guy he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, tremendous. So yeah, she does that. And this is like almost more than the sex scene. This is like a step change for the relationship. So like the morning after the sex scene, she obviously is a bit glib about it and a bit like weird and a little bit like self-deprecating, maybe self-loathing a little bit. Maybe she's a little bit ashamed of herself for what she's been doing.
Yeah.
Because she kind of refers to herself as your good old spy fucker, which is very funny, but also like really acerbic.
Yeah.
Whereas after this, she has a bit of a panic attack because it's pretty traumatic. And then she gets herself together, and then they plan a little con together. They do a little Ocean's 11 type thing together. They do a little con on Higgins to get her out of the office.
Yes. And he even gives her a little bird code name as well. Sparrowhawk, right?
Sparrowhawk. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And through that discussion with Higgins, they hold him at gunpoint in the back of the car. Through that discussion with Higgins, they find out that this hitman is called Joubert, and he's worked, and the mailman guy, have both worked for Higgins before.
Yeah.
Not Higgins, sorry, for Wicks. Sorry, a guy called Wicks, who was the guy who was in the alleyway and got shot, and Wicks has now been killed as well by Joubert. So this is like Higgins discovering that, there is something fishy going on. It's not just this guy. This guy actually might be telling the truth because, hinky. And then we don't have the benefit of Gene Hackman announcing it for us like he did in Enemy at the State, but this is when the tables turn a bit and they start going on the offensive and getting on the front foot. So Robert Redford now is actively trying to track down Joubert and actively trying to find out who he's working for. And he does it by doing the cool thing you described earlier, which is
the phone freaking.
He gets into the I guess it's a switchboard. Is it the internal and external switchboard inside the Holiday Inn in which he's staying at? Yeah, so he's in the hotel and he's hacking all the hotel phones to ring up to his room, listen to his room.
He uses Walkman to record the dial tone, and then he puts it through is it like an automated service that does kind of like tone recognition, then it reads the numbers back to him, or is it an agent at the end of the phone? It's automated, I think, isn't it?
I was going to put this down as a potential oversell, because an automated phone service in 1975 that could listen to what you're doing and translate it back, including dial tone analysis. So that's listening to pitch and decoding it, and then sending it back to you. But that
could be a bit of an oversell, yeah. I think a major oversell as well, sorry, just kind of cut back a little bit, is when they've got the footage of Joubert getting eliminated, and they've got the little video of 2CV getting blown up in Beirut or something like that, and it's like the least analog thing about a film. It's a very much an analog technology thriller.
It really is.
The bit with the street map when it's bouncing around.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah,
the whole of the Bronx is talking to each other, or something like that. The whole of Brooklyn's talking to each other. One of the boroughs.
To the 5 boroughs. One of them boroughs.
Dear New York, this is a love letter. My God! Shout out to the listener that we had from New York City show up on the
We've had a few.
Informatics forgot, actually. We've had a few.
We have, right. So we've got a few from New York. If we're going to do this after bringing up, I can name some of them. So we've got a lot from New York State as a whole.
Yeah.
We've got some from New York, somebody from the Bronx, somebody from Queens.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, we haven't had Manhattan or Staten Island yet.
Yeah, man, we need to collect them all. We've got to get all the 5
Got to get them all.
That's the point when
I think we've got Brooklyn. We haven't got the Bronx. That's it. Yeah. We haven't got the Bronx. We haven't got Staten Island. We haven't got Manhattan. The Village, the Sailor's World. Anyway, sorry.
Woo!
And you know I didn't steal it. Except I just did. Yeah, cool. Right. Man, yeah, that bit's awesome. But the phone, and it keeps the maps
cool,
jumping around, and it's like, what's doing that? Is that like a little pin that's on a big map that's getting moved around, and it's got a little camera on it, a little pinhole camera? Is it like a little
and it's just like
camera
big
obscura?
Clunks. Yeah. And it's like big clunks and clicks and whirs and tapes and things moving. It's class. It's like proper analog espionage. Your Walkman's a weapon. It's mint.
I love that. That whole sequence there is really great. And I'll tell you what I do love as well, and it's got big vibes of being in a meeting with a conference speaker, is where he's talking to Higgins, and he's uncovered information about this plot, this Leonard Atwood stuff, that whole thing about the Condor being an endangered species, all that kind of stuff. But meanwhile, Higgins is sitting in an office, and he's got the people he's talking about opposite to him.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What's the matter, Higgins? We're not pals anymore? What's the matter?" It's and he's just like, "Oh man, stop talking, or I'm gonna get killed next." So that's cool. Yeah, I love that. And he gets this jump on pretty quickly. So we're nearly at the end of the movie. So we have one scene I need to talk about, which is Kathy's exit from the movie. So Kathy's pretty much done at this point. They've had their one night of passion. She's helped him kill a guy in her own apartment, and apparently that's the line. That's the line that she won't cross. The rest of it she was pretty cool with. But that's it. No, it's not even that, actually. So she has a tearful goodbye, and she looks generally good. It's almost like her being super flaky is beyond her control. she's like stood there at a train station with like Robert Redford opposite to her, and he's got like a couple of days of growth now. He's like got golden hair, you know, he looks rugged AF. It's like this guy's getting more and more handsome as the movie goes on, and she's there like, I can't get to know you more because I feel like you're not going to last very long, and I don't want to fall for you and then like lose you. She shouldn't say this exactly, but she's, you know, it's between the lines, right?
Yeah, like, it's a monologue. Yeah.
Yeah, and then she leaves. She just walks away, and like there's probably a dead body still in her flat, but she's ready to go. They probably could have been. And I bet this is what happens in the 6 days in the book. Maybe is that body gets like dealt with by them, or the company come and collect it while they're out. But
She gets shot in the book.
what?
She gets shot in the book.
Shot and killed?
No, shot and badly wounded, but survives. Spoilers for the book.
Yeah.
So that's the 3 days they took out of it.
The 3 days is just like
Just 3 days
rehab.
of in rehab, in agony, in the hospital.
Like the first 2 days are exactly the same, and then they have a 3-day like city break in Boston, and then they come back.
That's where she and that's where she gets shot in Boston. She says something snide about the Boston Bruins, and someone just caps her. Someone whips out a high point and just puts like 3 in her leg or something.
Yeah, someone like hits her. Bang, bang, bang. Go Pats!
Go Pats!
Go fuck yourself!
Oh my god. She says something disparaging about the Dropkick Murphys, and just like 3 off-duty cops shoot her.
Was only an Isles or a hero in this goddamn house.
Oh my god.
That's awesome. Yeah, then she's gone. And then there's not much left for the movie to do now. So my only real criticism of the movie, actually, now I think about it, is so Turner goes, having used Joubert's location and stuff like that, he's figured out who he's working for. It's Leonard Atwood, who's the CIA Deputy Director of Operations for the Middle East. So he goes to his house and sits in his there, and there's my favourite, I love this bit. So he's sitting in the guy's office in the dark, and he just starts blaring like really loud disco music.
He's just vibing, man. It's great. Yeah. He's just chilling.
I got you where I want you.
He's just got some tunes
where
on,
you
man.
need me.
You know, after multiple days on the run from the CIA, some people just need to do a light break and listen to some music just to relax, man. Just to chill, you know, just to recenter yourself, you know, just get the tunes on and flex your ultimate superiority by not only breaking into someone's house, but listening to his records while he's asleep upstairs. It's incredibly based.
Yeah, it is. It's so cool. And that's another classic trope that we're going to see in a whole bunch of these movies, is the I've broken into your home and I'm waiting for you trope. But yeah, awesome. Leonard Atwood handles it better than I would have done. Like if I heard like music blaring from my living room in the middle of the night, I would have come downstairs like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
What?
I mean, if you're the CIA's Deputy Director of Operations for the Middle East, your sidearms enter in the room first, right?
Yeah,
and it's barking, like, and it's not going to stop. I mean, you're even going to do a couple of dead checks on the guy once he's on the deck and he's bleeding out, you know.
Whereas your boy Redford is very, very cool. Just sat there, calm as a cucumber. He's got the gun, just like, come in, let's have a chat.
Yeah, let's talk.
When they turn that music off, I need to talk about that music when we do needle drops, by the way. So then he gets at Leonard and he's like, "What's going on? What's this all about? This is about that report I put in. What was in that report?" And he thinks for a minute, for like the first time in the movie, about what was in the subject of the report, and puts like 1 and 1 together and comes up with that it's all about the story, and the story was all about the securing of oil supply in the Middle East.
Yeah,
which would be a genuine thing that. You know, I mean, it was at the time, but then even more so through the 90s and noughties and now.
Yeah, like, and when he's like listing the names of the countries involved, like Libya, Venezuela, and it's like, and I mean, yeah, I think this is the point when there's even that little half a beat after Venezuela when he's like, that incredibly oil-rich country, I
get oil, you get bananas. Yeah, so yeah, it does that, and then he's like, oil, which is cool, but because we didn't get to understand what his report was really about at the beginning of the movie, it does come a bit like out of nowhere. Which I imagine isn't the case in the book, right? The book must go into more detail.
I imagine it does, yeah. I've only read a bit about the book. I haven't read the whole thing.
Okay, cool.
Enough time.
But yeah, I've also not had much time this week because I've been busy with my own little proxy war at work, which I can't really talk about, but still. Yeah, cool. So, awesome. He understands what it's all about. And then we see, walk into the room, Max Von Sydow, and it's like, oh, jig's up, Max Von Sydow's finally here. What's going to happen? And then, surprising everybody, Max Von Sydow, he walks over, he tells Robert Redford to put his phone in front of the handle, release the handle, the clock and handle. So, the hammer, even, I should say.
Yeah.
And then he takes his gun off him, and then you think, right, this is it. Redford's got to go. But instead, the CIA, through Higgins, have rehired Max Von Sydow for, I guess, more money, outbid him. So our honourable, I'll do everybody for free, sorry I didn't get Robert Redford the first time, our honourable good businessman is actually not so honourable and went for the highest bidder instead. And then now working for the CIA instead. And then he, bang, kills Leonard Atwood and goes, right, well, the person who told me to kill you, dude, I'm just doomed. So,
he suicides him.
Yeah. He does that. And then
he suicides him,
and he starts like wiping stuff down. What else have you touched in here apart from the chair? Did you touch the lamp? He says. He didn't say, did you put on a funk record 5 minutes ago? I heard it from outside.
I was like, I was dancing to that music outside, preparing to kill.
Yeah, awesome, man. Crazy. So good. Yeah, and then they have probably two iconic discussions that happen in this movie. And the first one is right after this scene. So they're walking out of the house. The sun has come up. It's like mid-morning, twilight kind of thing. And Max Von Sydow asks him, like, can I give you a lift? Do you want me to drop you off anywhere? And he's like, I want to go back to New York. And he says, there's not a future for you there. It will be, when it happens, it will be like this. And he just really coldly and like calmly just lays out how an assassination by the CIA would look to for Turner. He says, you'll be going out for a walk. And it'll be the first day of spring, and you will see a car trundle up next to you, and perhaps a door will open, and someone steps out of it, and it's a friend of yours, perhaps someone you trust. And he doesn't even finish it. It's like, right, yeah, I can see the writings on the wall. Yeah. Like, this is how they get you.
And then he offers him a ride.
By the way,
me,
a person who knows you.
I've just told you we're cool. Do you want to get in my car? Yeah.
First mistake, last mistake.
I'd be like, you know what? I think I'll walk. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
I think I'll just go. Brilliant. And then, it just cuts to the very next scene after that is like the end of the movie. He's on the street. It's probably a famous street that I don't know the name of because I'm not from New York. But he's on the street where the New York Times is based. And he sees Higgins walk out of his office, calls him over. It's obviously an extremely famous street because it's probably quite close to the World Trade Center. Calls him over, and he's like super paranoid now, as he should be. And he's like, right, walk. Like, hey, let's just say that I've got a 45 in my pocket. Would you want to go for a walk with me? It's like, which way? West. Walk 3 or 4 steps ahead of me. And I love that, by the way, and I'm sure you do as well, because it's a really bad thing in movies where someone holds the gun into someone's spine as they're walking, and you're like, you just ask them if you could spin around and have the gun taken off you.
Basically, yeah.
But having that couple of steps of separation allows you to get a shot off before anything happens.
Yeah, I mean, you've got enough to just like pump a few into him, and like I said, 45 kills the soul, so he's going to be blown into tiny pieces if the gun range fudge are to be believed, evaporated into dust.
And there's a recurring theme in this movie of Robert Redford having Tradecraft from reading books. So he's probably read about that in a book somewhere and has internalized it and just went, I'll do that.
Yeah.
So he's very good at turning that information into action. So he's got the guy walking ahead of him, Higgins, and Higgins says, like, you can't do this. Like, what do you think's next for you? You know, you're going to get you. Like, it's over. Either you come back into the company or you're going to be dead. And then it turns out he's handed the story off to the New York Times. Where he said, like, you play games, I just tell stories. Yeah. And I love that bit. So they have that argument, though, first about the morality of what the CIA has done here. Because all they've done, really, and until the killing started, was develop some plans, basically some red teaming, about things they could do around the globe to secure America's influence and power. And one of those was energy security in the Middle East. And all that happened really here is that Leonard Atwood guy took it one step too far and was about to start actioning stuff that was maybe not in his purview to do. But obviously, he is the Deputy Director of Operations in the Middle East, so he probably does have a fair amount of authority to do that kind of stuff. If it came out and people knew about it, like it was blown by someone like Robert Redford and his whole little building, it would obviously look tremendous reputational damage to the US. So that's what they're arguing about. And Higgins makes the point, which is scary and true. When it happens, when you don't have power, when your car engine doesn't start, when your home doesn't get heated, you won't care how the government squares it away for you. You'll just want them to get it for you. And that is true with people who live in countries where you're facing these kind of problems, and your security is at risk. The basic right to walk down the street or to heat your home, you probably do. Your moral event horizon probably does just go a little bit further away.
Yeah, man.
So they have that chat, and then my favorite thing about the movie, I suppose, is that it ends on a really uncertain, like it's quite a sour note. It ends on a bit of a bleak, uncertain kind of like, how do you know they're going to print it? Like, when you walk away, like that's you done. How do you know how do you know that they're going to print the story? And if they don't print the story, if they don't run with it, then he's played his only hand, and you'll just get wiped out.
And you get, I think, like a real look of like kind of consternation on his face as you get like that freeze frame at the end of it. Contextually, we're like sitcoms and stuff doing that freeze frame on a funny moment kind of thing at the end of them. Because I'm sure there were. I'm sure that was the thing in cinema and in comedies, and it was like, that's like it's just that freeze frame when you can see he's seeing his own future and he's thinking this may not be the masterstroke I thought it was. I have gone against, the American Empire. Basically, I've gone against this massive powerhouse of both soft and hard power, and he's winning for so much of the film, and then at the end it looks like there's a coin flip, man. He could be completely boned.
Yeah. He's put his life in the hands of these journalists, and like, the exercising of a free press had just recently worked pretty well with the Washington Post and the uncovering of the Watergate and all that. I think, was it 1974 when Nixon resigned? So this movie is pretty timely. Production for it, I guess, was around that time, and then it obviously came out in September 1975. So that's timely. But then on the other hand, off the back of that big scandal, it's a bit like the end of Clear and Present Danger, actually. When the president's saying like, how many more scandals do you think the American public's going to want to wear? Like they've just had one big one. They're not going to wear another right away. They simply won't stand for it. They'll want a scapegoat and they'll want it to go away. So there's a chance that this doesn't make the waves that he thinks it's going to. And he probably will get in a timely sad end. It's pretty bleak.
Yeah. I mean, and he's offered he's offered a way out by Max Von Sydow, isn't he? I mean, Max Von Sydow almost says, like, kind of, I'll take you on, kid, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
Like, and it's almost like, hey, stick with me, kid. I'll make him a little apprentice. I love how he kind of pitches his own lifestyle as, no, it's actually quite peaceful, like it's, and it does seem to have a peaceful life. He's painting miniatures. He's just traveling the world in a low key way, just occasionally killing someone. And there's that kind of almost the closest thing you see to any kind of really patriotic statement in the film is when Robert Redford says, I was born in the United States, I would miss it, kind of thing. And that's the only time anyone talks about any affection towards the country. Everything else is just loyalty to the company.
Institution.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
Thank you.
Absolutely. That's the end of the movie. Has anyone got any final things you want to say about the movie before we move into categories or whatever?
I will say something about just the armoring in this film. I have a feeling that the guns were kind of done on the cheap, because one of the 45s is actually a Star knockoff of 11 chamber and 9mm. The little 22 caliber pistol that Max Von Sydow uses to suicide that guy is, I think, an Astra, which is another like Star, a Spanish firm that made knockoffs of guns. It's obviously a knockoff of Volta PPK. The C96, you don't see enough of it, but I would bet money that's one of, like, I think it was Astra or Star in Spain made knockoffs of the C96 as well. It looks like it was kind of armored out of pawn shops. Obviously there's like the whole thing that 9mm are often used to like pretend to be 45s because 9mm blanks cycle better and stuff for film. But I just like the way it seems to have been like put together on the cheap as far as guns go, and that kind of pleases us because I like these like kind of Eurotrash knockoffs that they're using,
And we're back. I didn't mention earlier on that I'm wearing like an attempt at, a half-hearted attempt at Robert Redford cosplay for this particular episode with the denim shirt and the tie.
I actually stuck on a denim shirt as well.
So did you get the little, at the end of the movie, he's wearing this cool little necklace with a little stone in it. Did you see that?
Didn't know.
Yeah, he's actually a little bit counterculture in this movie. Yeah, I think he would have got on pretty well with Frank Serpico, which was
totally
timely, geographically relevant person. Also, movie produced by Dino De Laurentiis. So yeah, there we go. Right,
all connected.
Casting. Right, let's get started. There's a lot of people in this movie, and I haven't done as thorough as research as I'd like. There's a few good ones I want to bring up, though. So the mailman is portrayed by a guy called Hank Garrett, and as I just alluded to, he was in Serpico in 1973. He plays a detective when Frank is like pretty junior, still like a uniformed beat cop. There's a suspect that he tracks down and chases down and arrests, and then later he's getting interviews, and this guy's just wailing on him, just beating the crap out of him because he's black. And then Frank walks in and he just says to Frank, like, do you want a piece of this? It's a horrible piece of work. Really terrible guy.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that was only like 2 years before this movie. He also, after this, basically did a ton of TV work. So he did Knight Rider, Airwolf, Simon and Simon, Dukes of Hazzard, Knots Landing, like all that classic network America television from the 70s and 80s.
Alien Nation.
Yeah.
I'm just having a quick look at his filmography now. This guy has done a lot. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he was a voice actor in G.I. Joe.
He's done loads of that. Loads of G.I. Joe. It's almost his legacy.
Good grief.
Yeah. The other one I was going to bring up was Tina Chen, who plays Janice, as his office romance. She's also in Airwolf a ton as well. So just any excuse to play the Airwolf theme tune into this, basically.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, awesome. The other one, I mean, we don't need to bring up people like Max Von Sydow and Faye Dunaway, Robert Redford. These names are humongous.
They've been in a few films, I'm sure.
I want to talk about Cliff Robertson for a second as a quick bit of trivia. So Cliff Robertson plays Higgins. He was in Escape from LA. He's Ben Parker in like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. So, you know, Uncle Ben. On 9/11, Cliff Robertson was flying his own small private plane over New York and witnessed the attacks from the air.
Whoa.
Isn't that crazy?
That's absolutely wild. I can't imagine how crazy that must have been. Jeez.
Yeah. So that's casting. Have you got any more?
I don't have much more for casting, to be honest. I mean, you've kind of hit all the ones that I was kind of looking at as well, especially with just like, you can't really kind of come at Robert Redford and Faye Dunaway's filmography and say, oh, they were in this, they were in this, they were in this, because they were in everything. They've done so much.
Mega stars.
And it's all so good. It's all so good. So, yeah.
I got one more, which is John Houseman, who plays Mr. Wabash, who's the British spy master at the CIA.
Oh, he's great. The character and the actor.
Yeah, he's great.
Fascinating.
So he has one great bit. Yeah, so he's talking about his wartime experience in World War II.
And his interwar as well. He talks as a pre-war experience in the interwar era. But yeah,
that's
sorry,
right.
Proceed.
For the Great War in the 30s and everything. So he's he makes a cool reference to World War II, and he says, I sailed the Adriatic with a movie star at the helm.
That's class.
Which is cool. That's a reference to, it's a reference to the Royal Navy Volunteer Reserve, which was, so back in World War II, you had like the regular service, which was made up of people who obviously been in the Navy before the war. The Royal Navy Reserve, which is already established thing that exists and still continues to exist, which is people who have left the Navy and want to continue their service, or civilians who just want to have a job on the side. You know, everyone knows what the reserves are. I don't know why I'm explaining it. What was made during the wartime for hostilities only was the Royal Navy Volunteer Reserve, which was officers and ratings who were brought in just to cover off the massive upscale of the fleet that was required to fight World War II. By the end of World War II, the Royal Navy was the largest navy in the world by some margin. The US Navy would then take over after that when we had to sell all the stuff off because Britain was nearly crippled by the war, as we all know. But during that time, some of the people who joined the Royal Navy Volunteer Reserve are people like Alec Guinness, who was a lieutenant, commanded a gunboat, Nicholas Montserrat, the writer, who then went on to write The Cruel Sea, and it was a fantastic book. You also got there Evelyn Waugh, the writer. Again, you would think he would have joined the army because if you read his Sword of Honor trilogy, that's obviously about an army officer in a fictional regiment called the Halberdiers, but he did service in the Navy. Ian Fleming, famously member of the RNVR,
Yeah.
who then created his character of James Bond to be in the RNR. But yeah, there you go. So yeah. That's what he's talking about. And then he has that brilliant line as well where he says, "I can miss that time," and the guy's like, "The war?" And then, no, the clarity. And it's interesting to hear someone in the 1970s talk about the murky business of spying and subterfuge. And obviously, it's the peak of the Cold War.
Yeah.
So that is a time where things were extremely, confusing. But actually, Jesus Christ, man, there'd come a day if he lived into like the 90s, noughties, and now that he would look back fondly on those times because at least you knew who the bad guys were.
Yeah.
Whereas
it's like,
we were the murkiest, greyest of grey zones now, aren't we?
We keep referencing grey zone operations in recent episodes. For the people who aren't terminally defense build, Mike, can you explain what these grey zone ops, please, are?
That's actually a very good point, right? Yeah. So the grey zone is a state of, I would say, if people think about the world that we're in right now and think that there's a state of peace and that's a state of war, we're kind of in neither. So people are quite happily talking about Britain's not at war right now, Britain's in peace. It's not. We're in a state of continual present contest. Our defenses are being probed all the time. Our economic security is being challenged all the time. And this is true for everybody. It's true for the Americans. It's true for the Russians, the Chinese, Koreans, everybody. Everybody is being challenged and tested in different ways. Your critical national infrastructure, your underwater infrastructure, all this stuff is being challenged. You think about things like hacking attacks remember when the NHS got hacked and everyone's screen came up with a red screen? You must have been there and saw that.
Yes. Yeah, man, I was working at a GP surgery in the West End at the time. And
your screen would have went red and that message came up saying pay $300 to get this back.
Everything was out. I wasn't logged into a computer at the time when it happened for us. But I was doing, I think, like, this was back in the day when you'd still sometimes turn the computer off and do, like, photocopying and stuff and filing. But, yeah, like, it was like, oh, okay, everything's gone now.
Yeah.
Crap.
I don't want to draw a false equivalence between grey zone and specifically cyber, but it is heavily involved. Other things that would count as grey zone warfare is any kind of sub-threshold attack that is basically falls short of an offensive action of war or a declaration of war. So it's anything that falls short really of a conventional, like, I'm sending a missile strike on your country.
Yeah.
Other examples, let's say the assassination of General Qasem Soleimani, the Iranian spy master in 2020. Check 2020. January 3rd, 2020. There we go. That's a grey zone attack. The Skripal poisoning in 2018 in Salisbury, that's a grey zone. So all these things that happen in the news all the time, like, that's the grey zone. So, if you look back at this movie in 1975, that stuff was happening. It just wasn't getting into the news as much because the rate of news was slower, I would say. And things like cyber, the big key thing about, I think, grey zone activity, which makes it differ from more conventional war stuff, is the public are more involved. The public it's not just targeting your country's military ability, hitting their civil infrastructure as well. The Skripal poisoning is particularly heinous because, so the story of it, I don't know if you know, Skripal was a spy who got turned and was a double agent working for the UK and spying against the USSR, where he's from, and he'd been imprisoned. And then a very Bridge of Spies type exchange, he'd been swapped for one of theirs, and he was back in the UK. But the KGB in Russia always says, "Oh, once a tracer, always a tracer." You haven't finished paying your butcher's bill, so they wanted to kill him and his daughter, who were living in Salisbury. To do that, two guys came from a special, as part of the GRU, the Russian military intelligence agency, made up a special task group. I can't remember the name of it now because it's a series of numbers. It's like 92155 or something, to assassinate him. And what they did is they used the nerve agent Novichok in something the size of a perfume bottle, and brought it into the country that way, and put some on his door handle. And him and his daughter went out for a meal, eating something, but on the way out, obviously touched the door handle or whatever, and exposed to it that way. About an hour after that, they started to feel really unwell. So they went for a walk in a nearby park, sat on a park bench, and then that's when they were overcome by the effects of the nerve agent and taken to hospital. And that's the site where everyone like reacted and responded, and that obviously caused like a big national thing. A few days later, so they both got very sick. What happened after that was the bottle that had been used had been discarded in a public bin in town, and then a guy, and I can't laugh about this because it's deeply serious, but a guy took
heroin.
It fished out of the bin, saw it was obviously a false piffing bottle, and I think it would look like a Dior or something.
Yeah.
So it had branding on it, so he thought this is actually worth a lot of money, even if it's a knockoff. So he went home, gave it to his partner, who used some, and then she died. He had a British civilian killed in a targeted assassination indiscriminately by the Russian state, and they still deny it, even though it's pretty much been as good as proven, and not just by the security services, by the way, but by independent organizations. But yeah, so that's but they haven't taken any formal responsibility for it. And then off the back of that, there was a big bot farming, information warfare campaign done by the Russians to try and, again, wrest control of the narrative, confuse things, classic deny, counter-accuse, but not just off one line of effort, but like dozens of different varying conflicting claims, all to try and make the one bit of truth get crowded out by a load of lies, essentially.
Yeah, it's like the kind of a fire hose of falsehoods, right? When they just like totally contaminate the information space with all the kind of, it was Portendale, it was actually the British, and it's just this silly, unbelievable stuff. False flag, and
that is one of the examples.
Really unbelievable stuff.
They did say it was Portendale. That was one of their accusations. Yeah. So that's a quick canter through an example of greyzone. When I talk about the greyzone, that's what I'm talking about. Sub-threshold stuff like that. Cool. Quotes in the movie?
Yes.
Man.
I think we are all thinking of I think we're all thinking of a few excellent quotes. I'll let you guys proceed.
Okay, right. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to steal the sandwich that I know you definitely want to eat. So I'm going to say my favourite quote of the movie is not long after Robert Redford is stress-eating a pretzel in the park.
Brilliant.
which is amazing. He gets himself to a payphone and has a chat on the phone there. And they're trying to convince him to come in. They're trying to get him to meet him in an alleyway. And he says, I'm not meeting you in an alleyway or anybody. And fuck the Wall Street Journal.
It's like, that's brilliant. Just like, nah.
It's an evergreen meme now as well. Anytime you disagree with something the Wall Street Journal's put out there, you can just put a picture of Robert Redford saying, fuck the Wall Street Journal.
Yes, incredible.
So good. That's my favourite quote of the movie.
Yeah. Just for the writing, for the words on paper and the words delivered in the audio, and the delivery is just, oh no, I'll help. You can always depend on the old spy fucker.
Yeah,
it's just brilliant. It's slightly unhinged.
Yeah, it's so good.
Unhinged.
She's a real one for that.
She's a real one. She's an absolute pistol. She's brilliant.
This is like the year after, slapping herself in the face, going, she's my sister, she's my daughter, she's my sister, she's my... Yeah, so if anyone's unhinged...
Good God.
Yeah, you've seen Chinatown, right? Oh, God.
Yeah.
So good. She's my sister, she's my daughter. I love that. I love the other one as well, where he's like, I've got a plan to get him, but I'm going to need your help. And she goes, have I ever denied you anything?
Whoa,
all right.
I mean, whoa, man, holy. Sanya, you got any quotes?
No, I don't have any quotes. I just read books.
That's good, man. I love that.
Sanya coming off the top rope with the steel chair again. Nice.
I mean, it's hard to beat the spy fucker.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I think the one about not getting caught in a lie.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Same thing
right.
as telling the truth. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so that's a pivot one. It's Drew Taylor. Boy, what is it with you people? You think not getting caught in a lie is the same thing as telling the truth? Which is word for word used again in Michael Clayton. Which I love that movie.
Incredible.
And there's a link there. So Sidney Pollack, who directed this movie, produced, or was one of the producers on that movie with Tony Gilroy, and was in that movie as well.
Tony Gilroy again, putting in the good work.
Of Tony Gilroy.
Getting closer and closer to having to do an episode on Andor.
I know, right? It's getting a bit too real.
Yeah, man. It's getting real. It's
Wasn't meant to be
up there.
And the ridiculous irony of that being a Disney show, and then what's happened this week with Jimmy Kimmel and Disney.
Jeez, yeah, bloody hell, man. Yikes.
Needle drops.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So
It's the funkiest and jazziest spy film.
it's so good. Right, so yeah, it has the funky music. So it's Dave Grusin was the
Yeah.
composer. He's done a load of stuff. He's done loads of movies. Most famously, I guess, for people of our generation, The Goonies. I'll just get up his page again and double check. The Firm, right? So he's done a load of Sidney Pollack movies. So he did The Firm, he did Tootsie, he also did The Graduate separately from all those ones. Havana, Sidney Pollack, Sin Elsewhere. Yeah, he's got a long storied career. That's right. But right, here's the thing that surprised me about that: the incredibly funky song "I Got You Where I Want You," which is playing when Turner's in Leonard Atwood's house. That's also by Dave Grusin. It's also just part of the score for the movie.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Never. That's absolutely crazy.
Technically, it doesn't count as a needle drop. It's not a needle drop. A needle drop is like a jukebox song. It's not. It's just part of the score.
That actually makes the film even... I didn't think the film could get better, in my opinion, but that really does make it even better that he's just gone out there and made a funky disco song about having someone right where you want them kind of thing. And it's like...
It's a little bit on the nose.
It's like didn't even spend the time to go through people's back catalogues and find something that lyrically and thematically matched. He's just like,
I'll do it.
Let's go.
I've got this.
It's like that dedication to the craft. It's like, have you heard the story about how the people who were making the film, I think, Surf's Up? It was one of those Dancing Penguin films. Asked Prince if they could change a line in Kiss from girl to boy. And Prince is like, no, absolutely not. And then, like, they sent him, like, a kind of test cut of the film. And a few days later, he responded with like 3 whole original tracks he did for the score or something crazy like that. I don't know the veracity of it, but it's like, that's been a composer, man. That's the art and the craft. That is, like, just...
I'm going to do a little bit of live checking out on some stuff here, because what if that's Happy Feet? And if that's Happy Feet, then that's a great bit of trivia, because that's a George Miller film, obviously. Mad Max, Babe, Big in the City, but Mad Max and the rest of the Mad Max movies. One composer, John Powell. All right, okay. John Powell, Born.
Yeah.
Right, let's check episodes up.
This might be a total myth. So,
Shia LaBeouf, Zooey Deschanel's in that movie. I didn't realise. I'm not even aware of this movie existing, but it's got some big people in.
You know what? Surf's Up goes hard. Surf's Up's actually Surf's Up's a mockumentary.
It's a mockumentary.
Surf's Up is a mockumentary. The trailers give you no idea. So yeah, it definitely wasn't Surf's Up. It would have been Happy Feet. Surf's Up is a mockumentary. The trailers give you no idea. We are being lied to. It's actually really good. It's got all that kind of like kind of shaky cam, handy cam kind of documentary footage. It's mint.
That's class. I got really excited for a split second when I saw written by Prince, but it's not Prince. It's a guy called Prince Leleoko, and then it's just, as his surname is that's weird. I'm going to go back to Happy Feet. Man, this is podcasting.
Now this is podcasting. Yes, bang! Prince did a song called Song of the Heart for Happy Feet, and I'm almost positive the story behind this is that, like, he like refused to change girl to boy in Kiss and then comes out with this. So I'm also fact-checking myself.
Dude, the soundtrack for Happy Feet is incredible.
Yeah, the song came out and Prince was approached to allow his song Kiss to appear in the film. Prince was initially hesitant to sign off on its use, but agreed to watch the film before he made a final decision.
There's Beach Boy tracks in both Surf's Up, obviously, and Happy Feet.
There we go.
Wow.
I was wrong about the amount of tracks that Prince did for Happy Feet. He did the song in Heart. It wasn't like multiple. I don't know where I got that from. That was like, but yeah,
amazing,
legend.
Absolutely, literally. No Scrubs is in the soundtrack for Happy Feet as well, and that's a needle drop, right?
That's a needle drop.
That's a needle drop.
But there we go.
Cool. Trivia, right? Movie trivia, you ready?
Yeah, ready. Some IMDb trivia, man.
Right. Okay. First one I want to tell you right now. The KGB, according to former Soviet intelligence officer Sergei Tredcreft, a fictional clandestine office shown in 3 Days of the Condor, convinced KGB generals to establish an equivalent office in Moscow.
That's incredible.
The Scientific Research Institute of Intelligence Problems. So, like, they just invented a whole new branch of intelligence.
I absolutely
the read everything branch.
But everything is like, as as far as KGB jobs go, again, that's class. What's your job? I'm in the directorate of shooting people in the back of the head in the basement of the Lubyanka. What's your job? I'm in the hanging out reading books directorate. Man, it rules. It goes hard. But of course, with like Soviet like censorship and stuff, they're just reading like the same like 3 or 4 books again and again. It's like, okay, so what are you reading? The Communist Manifesto again. Karl Marx's Capital again. Have you determined anything? I've determined this is a really cool job, and I'm not standing watch on like the border of like Belarus or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, this job actually rules. So I'm just going to read one of like 4 or 5 books that were permitted to even be in the same room as another couple of times, and then take a little vodka break.
The CIA director Richard Helms, it says here on IMDb, acted as a personal consultant to Robert Redford for his role in Condor. That's kind of true. Pollack and Redford invited him to the set for a day during filming, so he could kind of have a look around and just kind of vibe on a movie set. And he just had a nice day, basically. He did have a little bit of a chat with Robert Redford about like how he could carry himself to be more believable as a spy, even though I don't think he understands the movie's not really about him being good at that. But yeah, so I'm sure Robert Redford kind of really politely took those notes. And yeah, that's it. He didn't like do any kind of spy crafty kind of consulting. He just kind of vibed on the set for a day.
Yeah, sort of like when they brought Wyatt Earp to be a consultant on early Western films back in the day.
Like John Ford did that, didn't he?
Yeah, just like hang around and vibe and be in the presence of young John Wayne, who kind of osmosis apparently some of his personality and moves and vibes, if the tales are to be believed.
Yeah. So yeah, it's almost like we've done this, so we can say that we've done this now as part of the marketing.
Yeah.
Here's a funny bit from Faye Dunaway. So in her biography, Looking for Gatsby, she says in this film, "Now I'm sorry, but the idea of being kidnapped and ravaged by Robert Redford was anything but frightening."
That sounds like a significant number of the reviews on Letterboxd, by the way.
Yeah, and at one point, after Redford temporarily left the set, Pollack took over his role to obviously get the coverage of Dunaway for her reaction shots. As she said, the cameras were rolling, I was in position, and suddenly Sydney lunged at me, growling, "I'm gonna get you!" And that's my spin on it. I don't know how it sounded. I'm tied up at this point, unable to get away or move much at all, but Sydney kept moving towards me, his eyes glaring at me as he went on detailing all the horrible things he was going to do to me. And let me tell you, Sydney has an inventive mind. He is also a great actor, and he scared the hell out of me. Sydney kept the camera rolling, and he was relentless. Could you imagine that? Have you seen Eyes Wide Shut?
Yeah.
And there's the scene where like Sidney Pollack's got his shirt off. Like, could you imagine that guy lunging at you? Like,
no, man. That's dark.
That's awesome. Cool. When Turner tracks the phone number that Joubert calls in the hotel, he calls the phone company officer and asks for a CNA, which actually stands for Customer Name and Address. And that service is only available to phone company employees, which is why he said that, so he could pretend to be one. So that's how he gets it. That's really cool. Yeah. I didn't catch on to that initially. I thought he was doing it through the CIA.
There's a lot of social engineering in this film. Things like that, and also when he's like kind of eavesdropping in the shop earlier, and he gets Faye Dunaway's information, and name and stuff. When he overhears all that stuff.
That's right.
There's loads
he calls her by name at the
yeah.
It's like Kathy. I haven't seen. Yeah.
Like it's incredibly cerebral kind of spycraft with, at times, very limited in the way of technology getting pulled out and stuff. And it's just really cool things like you don't see enough of. I mean, I always love like seeing a bit of social engineering and stuff in films. I mean, I found obviously, I used to previously be in the NHS, and oftentimes the GP would ask me to call for a blue light for a patient who was showing symptoms of a heart attack. And the 999 operators will usually say, "Oh, well, can I have the doctor's say-so for this?" And then there's a bit of a kind of, theatre when you got to put the phone down, then go and like speak to a doctor and stuff like that. And quite frankly, it's I can say this now, I'm clear of the NHS, it's ridiculous. Because if a doctor's told you to say, "Look, I've got a patient who's showing signs of heart attack," it's like, you need a blue light, like now. But I found sometimes that if I put on a little bit of a posher voice on the phone, they would just do it. So it's like, "Hi, Sir Rory Toole, I'm patient service officer from medical partnership, just requesting a blue light for a patient who's got heart attack symptoms, please, or something like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And like, oh, okay, cool. I know that's not like a really great posh voice, but if you just put a bit of an edge on it, sometimes people are like, listen to you a bit keener and do things for you, and it's manipulation and it's social engineering, but for a good cause.
So, Sidney Pollack, there's lots of great true about Sidney Pollack. Sidney Pollack sued a Danish television station after they aired a pan and scan version of this film in 1991.
Yo.
The court ruled that the pan and scan version was a mutilation of the film and a violation of Pollack's droit moral, which is basically I've said that wrong, his legal right as an artist to maintain his reputation by protecting the integrity of his work. However, so they all did agree to that. However, he's still lost the case because he doesn't actually own the copyright of the movie, personally, as him. So he couldn't really claim to be the aggrieved party because it wasn't his thing to own, which is a bit sad, but a bit weird. Makes me think that he would get on well with Tom Cruise, though, because I imagine Tom Cruise would hate to have a pan and scan version of his movies aired, considering his already strong views on just motion, what's it called? Motion smoothing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Cool. I might as well do the Sidney Pollack one. He's in the movie 3 times. So I spotted the first one, which is I don't know if it is the first one. I spotted where he's on the phone as Ben, Kathy's boyfriend, because I recognise his voice. It's like, oh right, that's Sidney Pollack. He's also the taxi driver. He yells at
really
Robert Redford, who nearly runs him over. He's like, "Do you sleeping in the night time?" Like that guy. Get out of the road! Why are you doing sleeping at night? That's Sidney Pollack. And then the final one is Redford's walking with Kathy back to her apartment for the first time after he's like hijacked the car, and an acquaintance says hi to Kathy walking past, and says hi Kathy, and then she doesn't say anything, and then Robert Redford's like, "You should have said hello." That guy is Sidney Pollack as well.
Get in.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And then the last bit of trivia I've got here is that the place where Turner goes to pick up lunch for everyone, the Lexington Candy Shop at 1226 Lexington Avenue, is still there, and it looks the same, and it has a steady clientele. I don't know when that was written, but I like the idea that deli's still there and operational.
Let's hope it's still there. Would he send an operative into New York just to see if it's there, just to get eyes on and proof of life?
Yeah, they can go there,
Jen?
and then go there, and yeah, exactly, yes. Yeah.
Yep, Jen, next time you're in the city, just please scope it out for us.
A lot of people go to Cat's Diner, don't they, for When Harry Met Sally, but do people go to the candy shop at Lexington Avenue? They should do.
But I bet, I'm sorry, this is a groaner, I bet 50 Cent did. Way.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, very, very droll.
You can get rid of that one.
Do you have some, these are going to be good. Do you have some notes from the peanut gallery?
Woo, do I? These are great. Now, with the notes from the peanut gallery, you've really got to filter out the horny ones.
That's most of them.
Yeah. So there's a lot of filtering. I've got to. Sadly, I'm reaching the point in my life, and I've got to take my glasses off to read things that are close up now. 1975. Robert Redford is the ideal Felix Leiter. I'm right, and I should say it. Anyway, Redford hot. This movie is good. Blah blah. The job he has at the start of the movie is my dream job, etc., etc. 4 stars from Hannah.
That's true. Oh, that's awesome.
There's one really long, multiple paragraph here. One I'm only going to do the first paragraph because it's got the ring of truth. The lesson you learned from 3 days of the Condor is that if your co-workers tag you for the lunch run, don't grumble about it. They may have done you a favour. The lunch run, man. Pain. 4-star here. The CIA kills a bunch of nerds and Bobby Redford and his golden locks ain't taking that shit. So he kidnaps Faye Dunaway and she fucks him because he said nice things about her boring photos of the woods. The 70s were bananas. Max Von Sydow was the perfect person to play an assassin because he's the sneakiest bitch! ! I knew he was in this, but somehow forgot immediately after it started. And because I only recognise him when he's in Bergman movies, I had an epiphany an hour in when I realised that it was him. Sneaky! All capitals! !
Oh, that's awesome.
She take pictures that don't look like she took them, but she did take them, so they do. 4-star review from someone called Scumbelina. I love that username. That's brilliant. Robert Redford unfortunately proves to us all that you actually can't be too cool and sexy to die. Rest in peace. There is a rare negative one. 1.5 stars. This was bad, like bad. It had a stupid, convoluted plot that I didn't care about, and a horribly offensive romantic subplot. I literally screamed, "Get away from her," every time Robert Redford's character even glanced at Faye Dunaway. I'm angry, and I laughed out loud when I heard the line, "There's a CIA within the CIA." This movie was so dumb. Disagree, but I can understand someone telling Robert Redford to stay away from Faye Dunaway, because, I mean, it is a bit...
There is that other quote that we didn't talk about, which is particularly grim, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, am I wrong? Have I graped you?
Oh my God.
She says, the night is young.
The night is young. It's like, you might. Oh man. When you're not actually a CIA field agent, but you read a lot of books so you know how to hold your own in a fight. That one. Faye saying spy fucker is a mood. Yeah, it really is. My glasses back on now. Don't get old, kids. Or if you do it better than me, because good grief.
Most egregious oversell of the military-industrial complex. Or I suppose in this case, it's the surveillance state-industrial complex. I think it's the voice recognition software that decodes the phone dial tone from, I think. Or the funky scanner at the start of the movie, which is, you see the lights going over the box of text. And I can presume that's probably transcribing it somewhere else.
Yeah.
But I don't know how that works.
I think I've done a little bit of reading up on Freaking, and I read a book. I mean, I read about it a while ago, actually, years and years ago, and I know that you can sort of, if you're an expert with like telecommunications from back in the day, you can, I think, tell what number's being dialed just off the tone.
That's true.
So I wonder if the whole using the voice recognition system was actually kind of just a storytelling kind of trick. Because, I mean, if he just hears something and then you see him type a number in, it's not super clear that he's using sticky spycraft, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose.
It might be slightly confusing to some audiences, so...
Your alternative is a bit of a clunky scene where he's pressing the buttons a few times to get the tones right, and he's playing it back, and... yeah, that's the tune.
Oversells the deep state caring about that one ex-US Marine's hat size and inside leg when they pulled his details up.
Right, okay, I'm gonna... Maybe then. Because we had kit record cards all the way up until, like, in the RN, we had kit record cards all the way up until, like, 2019, 2020, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe, kit record books. And that's where that kind of stuff was kept, which is physical and no one cares about.
Yeah.
But now I have the My Navy app on my phone, which is obviously registered to my service number. And in the kit section of that, I've got all my measurements. So I can order stores in any base in the UK, which is really useful, but also means that all my measurements are just on a file somewhere.
So a hostile state actor in active greyzone violation kid take your inseam and your hat size.
And what are you going to do? Get me a uniform that fits for once.
Oh man, that was perfect. I set it up and you knocked it out. Now this is podcasting. Yeah, like I think maybe that little jumpy around map thing was also an oversell of the surveillance state complex. It looked really cool. And
it did look cool.
Yeah. So much cooler than like watching like on a digital screen, like a little red dot bouncing around. Oh my God, now he's in Ohio, now he's in whatever, I don't know, Kansas. And like it's the fact that there's just the increasingly fast mechanical clunk 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 as it's kind of bouncing around. That was just cinema.
That whole room is like something from The Prisoner. It's
crazy.
Well, I say something from The Prisoner. I mean, like, number 2's room from The Prisoner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, I think that's the oversells all done.
All oversells. Would this movie be better? I ask this every time. Would this movie be better if it had Jack Ryan, Dr. Richard Kimball, or President James Marshall in it? That's the wrong era for them, isn't it? So you got to think, if it's Jack Ryan, who's at the CIA, he's probably super junior. Let's say it's like the TV series Jack Ryan, and all he's doing is analyzing financial transactions.
Yeah.
He probably gets his eye into it when he starts, like, I guess he's tracking oil prices and stuff, maybe.
Yeah, and then he sees there's something going on, and then there'd have to be this kind of input between him and the people who are monitoring all the books and stuff. Like he phones them and they're all dead, but Condor, who answers the phone, and Jack Ryan's the one who's like, "Are you damaged?"
Yeah.
And then it's just the two of them against the rogue elements within the CIA.
A buddy spy movie.
A buddy spy movie. Yes.
We just invented a genre.
We invented a genre.
All
Coming
right.
soon to a Kickstarter near you.
An exciting new franchise.
We could even literally call the film Clear and Present Dudes. Yo!
Oh, that's the logical end point of this whole enterprise.
Good grief. It is. This film could have featured a young Dr. Richard Kimball.
Yeah.
He could have been a junior doctor or a surgical resident at the hospital where
Wicks and Sam.
Wicks ended up getting killed in his hospital bed. It would just be a cameo though, and a bit of a
It'd be
paging
cool,
Dr.
though.
Kimball, paging Dr. Richard Kimball, who's going to be in a film in about 15 years' time. You might want to mark that name, guys.
This is the same sort of time frame. So this is around the same sort of time as The Conversation came out. Movie we talked about a lot of a week. And Harrison Ford is in that. He plays a guy with a really shiny suit on in one of his earliest roles. And that's kind of like, so I can imagine him being in this.
Yeah.
He's like the right age to play like a young.
He is, yeah.
I don't think there's any room for James Marshall. He's just the wrong guy. It's the wrong era. Completely. We're in cynical 70s, post-Nixon. It's all gone to shit era. James Marshall is a product of the Bill Clinton booming era, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, James Marshall's like Bill Clinton with muscles. He's
Yeah,
like,
basically.
it's like, imagine if Bill Clinton could fight. I mean, might be able to, I don't know. He's kind of tall, but he might have good reach, I guess, but he's also old now. He would lose the President Fight Club against Obama.
Yeah. Yeah. Barack Obama.
Oh my God, it's Joe Biden with the steel chair! He just like walks in really slowly and just fucking douche.
I think that would be a revocation of Robert Redford's Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Yeah, it definitely would be.
Here's a question that I know the answer to already. Would this movie have benefited from a weird little scruffy guy played by Peter Falk? There's like 40 roles in this movie that could be played by Peter Falk.
Yeah.
He could be everyone in this movie. He could be the guy who runs the deli and the customer in the deli. He could be every taxi driver.
He could have been Faye Dunaway. They could have been really progressive.
He could have been he probably could have been Faye Dunaway. He could have been Faye Dunaway's boyfriend. He could have been Max Von Sydow. He could have been Wabash. He could have been.
He would have been.
He could be anybody.
So good as Max Von Sydow-esque assassin, because I mean, he's just the kind of guy that you would like wave through a security cordon, the kind of guy that you'd just would be all right with. You would only give him like the minimalist pat down because he doesn't seem like a threat, and then he's just whipping out a scope and Mauser C96 with the wooden stock, and he's just like
it's a different vibe, but what he does capture is that kind of avuncular nature that like Max Von Sydow taps into a little bit.
Yeah.
Like he's kind of a weird fish. He's like a guy who doesn't fit in anywhere, and yet there's something weirdly pleasant about his aura. That's what Max Von Sydow kind of achieves.
I mean, one thing about him, like Von Sydow, who's like he's faked his own death, right? Years ago, or the CIA faked it and make him work for the deep state CIA when they blew up his little his little Citroen 2CV.
Yeah.
Yet he's traveling the world, killing people. Yet he's still got time to travel with a bunch of little miniatures and like paint them and stuff. And I think that's like that speaks to the kind of, as you said, avuncular kind of guy that he is.
What else is great about that is that I've attempted to travel with miniatures before, and I've never made the time to do it. So he makes the time to do the painting as well.
Yeah, and he, I mean, he's having to kind of like, he would probably have to like source his own like digs as well. He wouldn't be getting like assigned to him. They'd be like, look, just there's still what I got to do. He's obviously independently wealthy, so he's going out there. He's getting a place to live, and he's saying, and this is a place where I paint my little man. And it's like, yes, I love that.
That's great. I'm just looking at Peter Falk's sort of resume at this time. So this is 76. He was in Murder by Death with Alec Guinness.
Get in.
Mikey and Nicky. Nicky's on the run from the mob, and he turns to his all-powered Mikey for help. Which one is he? He is Mikey, the cheap detective. After this, yeah, okay. So yeah, he's holding his own in that sort of gumshoe kind of way.
Yeah, man.
Cool. Would this movie have benefited from Lieutenant Commander Samuel L. Jackson, U.S. Navy? This is a rare occasion where I don't think there's a room for him in this movie.
Yeah, I feel like that would be wrong. He doesn't fit the vibe.
Yeah, you're totally right, Sanya. There's nowhere really we could put him in this film. I mean, for a start, the film has no real kind of like military presence in it, apart from the ex-Marine who was he with the death squads?
But he was.
They're assassins! But it's like, yeah, there's, Sanya, you're spot on. There's no real space for them to have like a young, angry Navy officer who's going to tell you to shut up and get these snakes off his plane, you know?
Jeffrey Wright, on the other hand, I think has got a couple of roles in this movie. Jeffrey Wright could have done the Higgins role, I think, pretty well.
God, yeah.
And controversial take, but I think he also could have done the Max Von Sydow role pretty well as well. I think,
yes, actually.
Because I can see him doing not so much the avuncular bit, but he's very cool. I can see him very cool and cold and dispassionate. I can see him painting the miniatures and
just
thriving on the precision.
Incredibly measured performer. So yeah, definitely, he's got that in him.
Yeah, the gravitas, you know.
Yeah.
I can hear him doing like the, you know, it'll happen like this. You'll be on out for a walk, maybe on the first day of spring. You know, I can hear it in his voice.
Yeah,
you know?
holy crap, definitely, man.
Right, here's a question for you.
Yeah.
And it's a weird one, actually. I'm not 100% sure where I sit on this. Is the movie pro or anti-CIA?
My God, we have been thinking about that the entire time we've watched this movie. Like we've joked about it, but we are unclear.
Yeah. So I need to quickly give you all a glimpse behind the curtain. Sanya and I are actually broadcasting from the same secure location. Sanya's actually in the living room and I'm in the kitchen. So the past few days we've been discussing this film sort of offline. But yeah, I mean, whenever I did kind of come up with a real answer, it is a pro or anti, because, I mean, Sanya, I'll let you opine before I give my end of things.
It makes the CIA sort of into a snake eating its own tail, doesn't it?
It doesn't make the CIA look like it's actively trying to root out that bit of corruption that happened.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the movie, it's not trying to clean itself and reform and have, like, you know, and do anything about it. There's no lessons learned by the company.
Yeah, like there's no kind of, if this is somebody's unilateral wet dream, then that somebody is going to prison.
Well, he got deleted, didn't he?
Well,
they just hired Max Von Sydow to kill him in his house.
Exactly. Yet it also shows the CIA can give you really cush jobs, like hanging out in a rundown little office where everyone's really friendly, nobody spits in anybody's coffee, and you just read books. Yeah. I mean, you could literally use like the first just few minutes of the film as a CIA recruiting tool. It'd be a very, very short film. It would be like called like 3 minutes of the Condor. And it's just like a brief day in the life of a CIA turbo nerd. Look at this. He gets away with making jokes about using an ice bullet that he read in a Dick Tracy story, and people don't call him an idiot. You too can join the CIA and be a big old nerd. Disregard the rest of the film. It never happened.
Could be a giant nerd, get a hot Asian girlfriend, and be admired by all co-workers, then go to a deli and scene.
Yeah, and everybody in the deli likes you, and then scene, dun dun dun.
Everybody likes you until they don't.
Yeah, basically, everyone likes you until you're absolutely screwed. So that's why the film cuts off after like 5-6 minutes, maybe. There's an uptick in CIA applications because they're all like, "Hey, can I get that cool book reading job?" And like the best thing is they're walking into the CIA office to fill in application forms, because clearly that's what happened in the 70s. Was the CIA really based in the World Trade Center? I don't want to Google it. It'll lead us to some stupid websites.
I don't know. All I do know is that the movie was originally going to be set in Washington, D.C., and it was Robert Redford who pushed for it to be relocated to New York for the majority of it. So they might have made the World Trade Center thing part of that location shift. Oh, you are going to Google it and get on all these lists.
I am really sorry. I'm Googling
it's a movie trivia
now.
list. The FBI.
Also, I accidentally typed in CIU rather than CIU, which of course is the Working Men's Clubs. Is this film pro or anti-CIU? The Central Intelligence Agency was not based in the World Trade Center complex, but it had offices on the 25th floor of 7 World Trade Center. There we go. So the film was not factually correct, because I mean it does very much infer by its cinematography that they are in the World Trade Center. They're not in 7 WTCs. And I pulled out before I went down any weird rabbit holes.
Finally, gentlemen, ding Chavez Award for the missed opportunity of the movie. I really struggled with this because the movie rules, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
It's so good.
But I suppose
so good.
You had a comment about Max Von Sydow's miniatures.
I missed the opportunity from painting more of them.
The little French shoulders, and maybe they should have been Skaven. Space Marines.
I mean, at the time, as far as fantasy miniatures go, they were already the kind of Ralph were already making little D&D miniatures and stuff. But my missed opportunity for that is that you're not seeing him paint just tons of them, and then it cuts over and it's just this gigantic amount that he's painted, because he never sleeps and he keeps himself awake to defend against his enemies by just obsessively.
It's insane. It's in a hotel room, but he's still got a plank of wood down there, which he's been using for the basis when he's spraying primer.
Yes. My God, and and just there's a whole deleted scene when he just plays a really complex war game against himself. He's turning the table around and stuff like a chess master.
He's painting, but where's the codexes? Yeah.
Yeah, it's oh my God. He just goes to a Games Workshop and brings his miniatures there, just has a little bit of a paint, thereby inventing Games Workshop about 6 years before it was invented or whatever.
That's it. That's the missed opportunity of the movie, is that this movie doesn't have a scene where Max Von Sydow walks into a Games Workshop and they're like, oh, yeah. Hi, Max Von Sydow, you're my favorite customer.
Jeez. And they do that horrible 1990s to early 2000s hard sell Games Workshop staff used to do by saying, you're buying that? That's shit. Oh man, jeez, you should get something cooler. Don't be a pussy. That kind of thing. Honestly, man, the hard sell, Jesus. It's oh, Skaven. God, you're shit. God, I hate you. I hate you, you little man.
It'll happen like this. A Games Workshop red shirt will appear you from behind. He'll look at what you're buying. He'll look in your hand. He'll say, Empire Greatswords. Aha! You want to buy an entirely different range of miniatures. You will walk out holding 2 High Elf Army starter boxes. This is how it begins, and this is how it ends. Your plastic crack addiction begins now. It'll be a friend. Maybe someone even you trust.
And they will start talking about the Codex Astartes.
Oh my God. This tactic is not approved by the Codex Astartes.
And then he just hands him his bolter.
Oh my God, that's a missed opportunity. Nobody's using the freaking...
There's no intercessors in the movie.
Nobody at any point pulls out 35mm caliber semi-automatic weapon firing rocket-propelled ammunition. Says a quick prayer to the weapon's spirit and then grips it and rips it with full automatic bolt of fire. There's no Tyranids in this movie getting exploded on fucking street, you know?
No one says a prayer to Corn or...
Yeah, there is zero
no
blood
gene
blood
stealer cults.
Oh my God, there's the CIA, then there's the CIA within the CIA, then there's a couple of people who are in a tiny little gene stealer cult.
Yeah, it shoots the director of operations for the Middle East, and he turns out to have a third arm.
My God, and Max Sydow, Inquisitor Max Von Sydow was suffer not the mutant to live.
Oh God, Max Von Sydow actually gets to go first because he's a psycho. Okay, right. Oh, done. What is left for there to say about the wonderful movie that is 3 Days of the Condor? Call signs are already done, by the way.
Yeah, call signs are done. Yeah.
Robert Redford's Condor. Kathy is Sparrowhawk. I can't remember the rest of them. The old lady was Wood Pigeon or something.
Yeah, something like that.
God. What's our next movie going to be, gentlemen?
It's a Sanya pick.
It is a Sanya pick, and you've had 2 weeks to think about this.
2 weeks and a good breakfast.
Well, right. I need more time to think because we got so into this. Oh no, we need to do a Robert Redford memorial episode that I forgot to think about a different film. And I was just like, we're doing 3 days of the Condor. I can push this into the back of my head again.
I've got an idea what you might pick, but you haven't got that idea yet. So we'll see what it is. Cool. Right. In that case, all that is left to say, really, unless anyone's got any final comments to make. Speak now or forever hold.
I have no idea how this film would have gone down in Germany.
I didn't even bother asking.
Yeah.
I knew you were
Damn.
In fairness, it does have a fax machine in the opening, so that's that.
Yes. Fax machines, man.
Cool.
We must return.
All that remains to say then, I suppose, is thank you everyone who's, again, just a shout out from earlier on. Thank you everyone who's rated and commented and stuff. And please, anyone who hasn't yet and enjoys what we're doing, if they could pop a little comment on Spotify or a like on Apple Podcasts or anywhere else you receive your podcast that allows you to have that function, that'd be greatly appreciated. And this podcast is available on Spotify and video and on YouTube and video, so you can check that out there. I try and cram as much extra stuff I can into the video, so we'll do that. But that's it, really. And apart from that, I can say that together we have been Clear and Present Dudes. You guys are in the same building.
We are literally about 12 to 13 feet away from each other.
Stop sink shaming me.
Sink shaming, that's a good one, man.
Okay, finally. Sorry, I just remembered. Email the address clearandpresentdudes@gmail.com if you want to interact with us that way. There's the Instagram page, Clear and Present Dudes on Instagram as well. My personal Threads handle is MikeD2049. And if anyone's got anything else they want to share.
Yeah, so I'm on Twitter as Rory O'Toole. That's Romeo Uniform Alpha Romeo India O'Toole. I don't tweet a lot these days, but I am around. I'm on Threads under the same name, on Instagram under the same name for my personal stuff that I might start using Threads more because Twitter's a bit of a toilet.
Cool. We're going to do it again. We have been Clear and Present Dudes. Right, I'm stopping there.
I was just worse than the last one.
Right.